Alright, what's up Knight Nation? I posted a video a while back giving percentages and the likelihood that we'll win the games that we'll play this season. Well, with the hurricane that's about to hit Florida, and I don't have any classes, I figured I would have enough time to quickly pump out a short video that would give out the exact games we'll win or lose. These won't be very descriptive previews of each teams, as I will be doing more in-depth reviews of our opponents as the season goes on. Keep in mind that I'll probably be wrong at some point, so feel free to flame me when we win or lose a game. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and let's get on with the predictions.
Touchdown Isaiah Bowser! Oh, what a great catch by Justin Hodges! Jumps up and launches it. Gets decked at the 30-yard line. 15, 10, to the 5, to the 50, touchdown!
Starting off the season tomorrow, we have Kent State. Easy win in my eyes. They don't have much returning production, and we should shred their defense. Next up is the Boise State game, and this could possibly be the first game I'm wrong about. The boys will be traveling to the Smurf turf, which will certainly be a tough environment. However, I think we have enough, if not more talent than the Broncos, so I believe we will barely sneak out with the win. Next up is Villanova, and there's no question against my pick. We'll win this game if we don't play stupid. We then start up conference play against Kansas State, and I'm going to say it right off bat, we're losing. Even though they lost some players to the NFL, they are returning a lot of others, in particular their O-line, that helped lead the Wildcats to win the Big 12 championship. Going up against Baylor in our first ever home matchup in the Big 12 is a match made in heaven. Given the historical significance of the UCF versus Baylor rivalry, I am so excited to see this game in person. The Bounce House should be going crazy, and I see us pulling the win against the Bears. This next one will be a controversial pick for some fans. I have the Knights losing to Kansas. I understand that traditionally, the Jayhawks have been the worst football team in the Big 12, but they are returning a lot of good players. QB Jalen Daniels especially has me worried, and playing in Kansas does not fare well with me at all. After an off week, the Knights will have a breather before arguably going to their hardest game of the season. Going to Oklahoma will be very difficult to pull off the upset. I have the Knights losing this game as well. However, I do not believe it will be a complete blowout. The Knights defense knows QB Dylan Gabriel's playstyle and should cause some difficulty for the Sooners. But due to the raw talent that Oklahoma has over UCF, I'm giving the game to the Sooners. Next up is West Virginia, and I believe UCF will bounce back with a dub. With this being homecoming week, the Bounce House will be packed just like last year against Cincinnati. West Virginia also has a huge coaching problem and will likely be closer to the bottom of the Big 12 this year. This next game, like the Boise State game, has me very torn on where to predict the results. Playing at Cincinnati is very hard, and the Knights haven't been able to pull a victory at Nippert Stadium since 2017. Mix in the fact that Cincinnati will have Scott Satterfield, a coach that has beaten us twice in the last 2 years, as their head coach, and I see many things going against the Knights. However, the Bearcats roster was gutted during the offseason, and their lead QB, Emory Jones, doesn't pose much of a threat. Like the Boise State game, I have the Knights winning a very close game. Next week, the Knights go home and face off against Oklahoma State. Considered to be a dark horse for the Big 12 championship, the Cowboys have a very manageable schedule. However, this is UCF, and this week is Space Week. I think UCF will win this game as they have done every year. The Knights travel to Lubbock the next week to play against Texas Tech. Personally, if any team besides K-State, Texas, or Oklahoma were to make it to the Big 12 championship, it's Texas Tech. I understand the hype for the Raiders, and I don't see us pulling the dub. Finally, to end the season, we are facing off against Houston. I feel like we should form a new rivalry against the Cougars and name it like the Space Race or something. Anyways, Houston is more focused on their basketball program, and they did not really perform well last year. I just don't think the UH fans and atmosphere of this Cougar team are enough to pull off an upset against the Knights. So, to round out the predictions, I've got the Knights going 8-4. However, I believe a lot of these games could go either way, looking at the Boise State, Kansas, and Cincinnati games. Be sure to subscribe to get more Knights football content. Go Knights and charge on!